Hi folks, it's Sean McCormick and welcome to the channel. It's Friday, and for this Photo Friday I'm going to do a mini version of something that I intend doing in the future, maybe once a month, and that is the Mini Sean Show. So the idea is that it's not just kind of one topic that I'm talking about, that I talk about more than one thing, and so let's kick it off now. Hey folks, I'm actually rushing out to a gig now to shoot a gig, and what am I going to bring with me to shoot this gig? It's in the Roisin Dubh, which is quite a small venue, and it's not the brightest venue. It doesn't have lots of movers going constantly and stuff like that, so it's very, very low light. So I'm going to bring three lenses to it. I'm going to bring the 35 1.4, I'm going to bring the 56 1.2, and I'm going to bring the 23 f2, which I can't show you because it's on the camera recording right now, the second. I'm not going to use them in quite the way that you think that I'm going to use them, because the 56, although it's a great lens for close up, I'm probably going to use it further back just to get captures like full lengths and stuff like that further back, because that way I can reduce the width in that sense, so I can use it as a telephoto, not as a portrait lens. The 35 will be probably used closer to the stage and things like that, and the 23 could also be used when I'm further back with the 56 and in close, just so I get a wider frame of view. The problem is sometimes if you're in close with the 56, you're too tight. It's literally just ahead, and you know, it's actually way too tight for most gig photos. It doesn't show the environment, which is part of the interesting thing about the gig. So those are the three lenses that I'm going to be using for the gig. Stuff that's going on this week as well is that I posted this link to This is Colossal on my Twitter. If you're not on my Twitter, please do consider following my Twitter and joining the conversation there, because I do converse on Twitter. So we have Colossal. So these are the drone photos of a guy who's basically shooting with a drone with a light on it, and so the drone is lighting up things, and then the photograph is taken from the ground. So this is the actual site here, and it's talking about it, and it's Ruben Wu, and so some of them have the actual light in the shot and some of them don't. But the shots themselves are amazing. So I'm going to post a link to that below, and you can have a look at that yourself in your own time rather than rushed. Yesterday I went out. I was going out to Moycullen, which is about 10 kilometres from here. Just a little village on the outside of the city, and I was going to go for coffee. Except that I, said, sure, let's go to Oughterard, which is the next village, so you're kind of halfway to Connemara. And then we were in Connemara driving around, and there were some lovely photographs to be taken, and I said, oh great, let's take some photographs. And I was planning on shooting some photographs with the person I was out with, who is Niamh, who you've seen in a few videos before. And of course I got out there and discovered I had no memory card with me, so we stopped off for coffee in Connemara Abbey, and I had to buy a card there, €25 for an 8GB card. Ouch. Anyway, it still gave me an opportunity to go out and shoot some photos. So I'm just going to go to grid mode here and give you an idea kind of the stuff I was shooting. So I was shooting some stuff for textures as well. So the idea, I was shooting these so that they could be used for backgrounds. Just grab that one here. So that these could be composited in as backgrounds. I'll probably do a texture pack of them at some stage. I've got loads of other ones from around Connemara to do a Connemara texture pack. But then I was off shooting some high-speed sync stuff again with the 120 octa, but this time I was using the V850, so only a normal speed light, but with a lithium battery to get higher recycle times. So I was using this at full power for the most part, but still getting exposures of 1/8000 of a second, f1.4, ISO 200. So lovely, beautiful, creamy depth of field, and plenty of light for the actual portrait itself. So that's that idea there. And then the actual landscape photos, I'll show you. You can see there's a few different ideas going past there, but we stopped off at Derry Clare at one point. And let me just grab a shot of Derry Clare itself. I've got some great thumbnails here at the moment, just loading. So like here's one of the shots I did of Derry Clare itself. So this is very, very quickly processed. I'll talk about that processing in just a second. And I also did, perhaps if I press the right button, but I also shot Niamh just there as well, and just going to grab one of these ones here that are processed as well, so we can see what the high-speed sync looks like there. Actually, there's probably a better one. And if you actually look at this particular shot here, when I was setting up for the test, we can actually see the edge of the softbox here, so you can see how far away the softbox actually was. Now in this case here, Neve was actually being lit by the sun as well. So I moved the softbox into a position where the softbox was blocking the sun, and I was the one doing the light with the softbox, so it just gave me way more control. So that's kind of a mixture of doing landscapes and also doing portraits at the same time. So I'm just going to grab this particular image here. So this is one of the shots that I did of Jerry Clare herself. We're in embedded preview mode. So press D to go to develop. I'm going to go to the basic panel. The first thing we see is that, well, you know, it needs a bit of a boost in exposure. So let's boost the exposure. And now we're going to pull down the highlights and we're going to open up the shadows. And now it still needs a bit of an exposure boost even at that point. Some clarity, vibrance for the blues, and then saturation for all the other colours in there. That's maybe too much. I'm going to pull back the vibrance. Jump down to effects there and bring in some dehaze, which does just beautiful things to landscape images, even though it's not really meant for that. And again, when you use dehaze, you generally have to push exposure. Right, so there we go. That's a very, very quick edit for a landscape. So I now press the backslash key. We can see our before and our after, and that only took a couple of seconds. Okay, so that's a very quick landscape process, and it's only just based around stuff in the basic panel and dehaze. I'm going to show you something else now that I'm working on. Let me just grab, what do we grab? Just go to the grid mode here for a second. And I will grab 1, 2. I'm just going to grab some images here randomly, fairly randomly. Say that as well, right? And just going to create a collection. So just include those photos there. So we got a 9. So now I'm going to go to web. The reason I'm going to web is I'm going to show you Showcase. So Showcase is a plugin that I'm currently working on. I'm actually in the middle of a buggy part of it at the moment, where this isn't filling up properly, but I got to go back and do it. But the idea is that it's a sliding gallery. You put in your logo wherever you want your logo, and then you have this little modal about, so you can put in your information, and then you can stick in some general information here, just to give you like email and address and stuff like that for contact. So the idea is that if you want to create a single portfolio with just contact information, which is the basis of what you need for an online presence, this allows you to do it in plugin form and controller from Lightroom very, very, very easily. So that is that. It will be full screen, and the other thing is that it uses a thing called source set, and so when you change the size, it will change the image size. So that way, if you're looking at a small version like 200 pixels high, that's the image that gets used. If you're looking at it and it's 18,000 or 1800 pixels, it'll use the 1800 pixel version of the file. Just that way that you're always showing the best possible quality file and not having to load every single file. So if you're only on a small screen, it'll load a small image. So that's source set. So it uses that as well. So it is based on an older plugin, but this is basically just getting it up. Now, like I say, this is just a little bug that got introduced in development, I think late last night. So obviously late last night I said, oh, I'm not going to figure out what that is now, so I'll come back to it. So that is Showcase. Right, folks, so that is basically what's going on with me at the moment, and the idea with the show is that it will be a longer form of this, but we'll, you know, have a lot more b-roll and stuff like that. It's just getting a chance to do it, but it's been on my mind all week, and I decided, yeah, let's just do it this way and go from there. So folks, if you don't, or if you haven't subscribed already, please do subscribe. Give the video the thumbs up if you liked it. That's the little thumbs up icon, not just typing thumbs up into the text. And of course, hit the notification bell if you want to get notified. And if you liked the video, share it with your friends as well, please. And I thank you for taking the time to watch this, and I will see you in the next video.